Hey friend, in this video I'm going to teach you how I took this floral painting, I'm going to teach you how to paint this, and made it into a cute phone case. So I just recently launched a whole collection of tech goodies with Casetify, this being one of the cases. They are for any type of phone model, Android, iPhone, even the one that it recently came out. I don't know if you have to pre-order it or what. The iPhone 12. So even for those, laptop cases, iPod cases, charger, Apple Watch bands. So with all my cute prints and watercolor on it. So I'm teaching you how to design a print like this. And if you notice how to scan and digitize your work, then you can create products and goodies like I have with Casetify. Casetify. So if you're ready to learn how to paint these peonies in this piece, let's dive in. Okay, so in my Casetify collection, one of my favorites is this Burst of Spring one. So cute. Where's duh. So cute. Big floral piece. That's the one we're gonna paint today. But all of these cases that are just launched in my Casetify collection are all hand painted watercolor that I then digitized on my computer, edited in Photoshop, and made into a repeating tile pattern so that it could go on cases, on Apple Watch bands. We have all of the prints in watch bands and on chargers. So that's the Shibori Mist one. And on AirPods cases. So AirPods Pro case and regular AirPods. Those are my cute little watercolor doggies. But today I'm going to show you how to paint this piece. So this floral piece, this hand original watercolor was then scanned, digitized, and made into a phone case. So I'm going to show you that whole process of how I painted this. So we're going to start with our first big floral piece. This is a peony using a size 16 brush, and then everything else is going to be using my size 6 brush. All of the supplies are linked in the description below, so you can go check them out there. Order them if you don't have them, or use what you have. So to get started, I'm going to load up my size 16 brush with some water. I usually, about 80% of the time, I'm painting with the size 6 brush. This is my all-time favorite size, and then obviously they're the same series and the same brand. Princeton Heritage 4050 brushes are my all-time favorite. The reason why I'm not painting with the size 6 for the big peony first is because I want these really wide petals for this big peony, so I'm going to do my size 16 brush because it's a wider brush. Now I'm going to load up with, because I have a good amount of water on my brush, I'm just going to roll it around in my palette on this Opera Rose and make sure I soak up a lot because we have a really, really saturated dark Opera Rose petal right there. And then to start, so I got a good amount of Opera Rose on my brush. To start, I'm going to point the tip of my brush towards the center of the flower. So the center of the flower is going to be roughly around here. And I'm going to have my brush about 25 to 30 degrees away from the paper. So it's pretty close to the paper, very slanted. I'm going to drag a thin line with my brush and then press and loop back down with the brush and lift off. Like so. You can go back over the petal, maybe just the base to darken or add more color to the base of the petal. And then from here, I'm not going to my water, I'm just going to my orange, my cadmium orange over here, to have that pink that's still left on my brush, but just make it a little bit more orange so that not every petal is the same exact hue. And I'm going to do the same thing, but my brush is going to be tilted a little bit higher. So thin stroke and then kind of looping in for that round top. Always making sure that wherever my petal is going, my brush is pointing to the center of the flower. So now these petals start to get a little bit lighter as I get further away from the center of the flower. That's just gonna help it feel more fluffy. So I'm gonna release some of that pigment off of my brush. So washing it off in my water cup. I'm just flicking my brush back and forth in the water and then swiping it on the edge of the jar to get rid of the excess, like so. I'm gonna come over here for a lighter petal, so thin stroke, then adding pressure and looping down. And these little gaps of white space between the bottom or the base of the petal is what makes it feel more petally. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Thin, pressure. Start to come up above this bright pink petal right here. And then the tops of these petals are just showing behind the front petals, the petals that are in the front. So these are just kind of like half moons. Using the side of my brush, just these little C curves right there. Lighten my brush a little bit more, then come down here. For that. And then we have some petals that are falling this way, so I'm gonna pull the petal towards me using the same stroke. So I'm starting thin first. Thin stroke, pointing to where the center of the flower is for every single one of my petals. And then just making sure it has that round top. Then I might go back to some of these wetter petals down here and darken using wet and wet painting. Kind of accentuate those edges of the petals. Like so. Then I'm going to grab some more Opera Rose, a touch of Scarlet Lake, and some orange. And we're going to do these little half moons in here. Leaving white space in here because this is like the really tightly wound petals in the middle of the flower, where you're just seeing some of the top edges because peonies have so many petals. Okay, there we go. First flower, and then our next peony is kind of this blush color. So we have a bright pinky coral one, and then the blush, I'm just grabbing some Opera Rose, some yellow ochre for that kind of skin tone touch to the blush, and then some lemon yellow deep, maybe a little more pink. And then this one's going to be falling the opposite way. We made this peony a lot larger than the one I painted for the case, but that is totally fine. So we're just going to have it a little bit closer. And always making sure that my petals are pointing back to where that stem would be. So I'm starting with my parentheses of the cone shape, because the thing is with the peony, they are a cone-shaped flower. So this peony has petals on the top and bottom. So cone shape here and cone shape here. This peony will not have petals falling down, so we're just doing this cone shape. And then same thing, we've got tops of petals peeking out. Okay, so now that I have my flowers done, I'm going to use my size 6 brush for the rest of the piece. And from here, what I like to do with a big piece like this is move on to my stems. I'm going to grab some phthalo turquoise. And I've got phthalo turquoise, some sap green, and lemon yellow deep. I'm going to grab and put a stem here by using the side of my brush. I've got it at about a 35-degree angle, and I'm going to add in a stem here for that peony. And then this peony is falling this way. We're pulling it from the center of the flower, and it'd go something like that. So we're gonna have it a little arch right there, and I'll finish the rest of the stem once I get more leaves and whatnot going on. But so this peony stem is right here. So we could have some leaves coming over here. Darken that one a little bit with some sap green, pulling from the stem here. We have an entire series on leaves. There's over 4 parts, 4 different videos, tutorials, more coming as well on painting leaves. So make sure you check it out. That will help you lots. So once I get a few leaves down, I'm gonna now move on to my lily of the Nile flower. That is this. There's little buds here that eventually open up and become flowers, but we just have them as buds. Kind of look like blue fireworks. So I'm gonna grab some cobalt blue, a touch of cobalt, and then a lot of Prussian blue for this color. I like these 2 colors together, this really, really bright pink and this like cobalty blue, rich blue. I just feel like they help accentuate each other and brighten the entire piece. Okay, so I'm gonna have a little firework situation over here and then some more down here. I wanna help pull people's eyes in a zigzag across my paper. I'm gonna start with my highest lily of the Nile up here. And the same thing with every single flower that you're painting, even when it's separate flowers on separate stems, they're all going to be pointing back to their main stem. So all of these little buds that I put down for this lily of the Nile, I'm making sure point back to where that main stem will be. And for these buds, all I'm doing is holding my brush at about a 65-degree angle, thin strokes, a little to no pressure on my brush, just using the tip, and then applying pressure and lifting off so it's got this little teardrop shape. So my stem is going to go right here, so I'm making sure all of these thin strokes for each of these buds are pointing back to where that stem is going to go. Switch up the blue a little bit, add a little bit more cobalt maybe for a couple of these. Maybe some buds are really bent over. Some are lighter and in the background. Then I can grab my turquoise, sap green, and some lemon yellow deep. Got my stem here. And then we can use just the point of the brush for that. And add more of these pops of blue around the piece. So maybe we got a little peak coming through here. down here. Then grabbing that green again, lemon yellow deep, phthalo turquoise, and plugging in these little stems. And now I can fill out the rest of this piece with more stems and more leaves to make it really come together. So for each leaf, I'm just kind of using a variety of sap green, sometimes with a little touch of Prussian blue, sometimes with more lemon yellow deep. Always making sure that my leaves are pulling from some sort of stem. Darker greens, lighter greens, it all helps to add depth, making sure that you don't just have the same hue and value for every single leaf or even every single petal on one flower. Then the final step is to add stamen to this light blush peony that has a little gap of white space right there. So I'm going to add some pollen stamen situation there by just using the tip of my brush. I've got lemon yellow deep and some yellow ochre. I'm just going to use the tip of my brush and apply some dots. And then you can also go back in, grab some burnt umber, some yellow ochre, and maybe a touch of black. Using the same brush with little to no pressure and just the tip of the brush, you can add these little eyelashes if you want. And there you go. there you have it. We've got a beautiful floral piece. You can hang this up on your wall, or if, like I said, you know how to scan and digitize, then you've got yourself some products on your hand. So this was manufactured by Casetify. We have the link below where you can shop all of my tech goodies. We've got this rainbow pattern. We've got this other floral pattern. We've got some shibori, which I have a tutorial coming out on how to paint this very soon. Terrazzo. We've got more flowers. We've got stripes. So many things to choose from. Some doggy prints. We've got a doggy tutorial coming out soon too. So make sure you go check it out in the link below. Hope you had fun painting this tutorial. Let me know in the comments below what other types of flowers you'd like to see me paint. I paint a lot of flowers on this channel, but you know, if there's something that I haven't painted flower-wise, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know. Next week, we're doing a tutorial on how to create shibori tie-dye backgrounds that you can use as just a painting to hang up on your wall, or you can scan and digitize it, make it into your own products, all that kind of stuff. Very fun, so stay tuned. See you in the next video.